اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك وأتوجه إليك بنبيك نبي الرحمة محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله، يا إمام الرحمة يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا الحسن يا أمير المؤمنين، يا علي بن أبي طالب، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها. يا فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت محمد، يا قرة عين الرسول، يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيهة عند الله، اشفعي لنا عند الله. يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي، أيها المجتبى يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها. يا أبا عبد الله يا حسين بن علي، أيها الشهيد يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا القاسم يا علي بن الحسين، يا زين العابدين يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها الباقر يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع يا أبا عبد الله يا جعفر بن محمد أيها الصادق يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها يا أبا الحسن يا موسى بن جعفر أيها الكاظم يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن موسى أيها الرضا يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي أيها التقي الجواد يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن محمد أيها الهادي النقي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي أيها الزكي العسكري يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها يا وسي الحسن والخلف الحجة أيها القائم المنتظر المهدي يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. Ask for your hajat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يا سادتي وموالي إني توجهت بكم أئمتي وعدتي ليوم فقري وحاجتي إلى الله وتوسلت بكم إلى الله واستشفعت بكم إلى الله فاشفعوا لي عند الله واستنقذوني من ذنوبي عند الله فإنكم وسيلتي إلى الله وبحبكم وبقربكم أرجو نجاة من الله فكونوا عند الله رجائي يا سادتي يا أولياء الله صلى الله عليهم أجمعين ولعن الله أعداء الله ظالميهم من الأولين والآخرين آمين رب العالمين. اللهم صل لأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات فاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأشرقت الأرض بنور ربها ووضع الكتاب وجيء بالنبيين والشهداء وقضي بينهم بالحق وهم لا يظلمون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. السلام عليكم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Continuing with the tafsir of Surah Zumar, I recited for you verse number 69. Inshallah, we're almost towards the end of this surah. Another 6 or 7 more ayat, and inshallah the surah and its tafsir would be mukammal and complete. This particular ayat is one of the most beautiful sceneries presented in Quran about Qayamat. If there's a setting that is produced or presented, there are many places in Quran that you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presents, this is how Qayamat will be. This is one of the most beautiful paintings, if you want to call it, of Qayamat, how Allah paints the picture of what the Qayamat is going to be like. It says, the earth will glow with the light of her Lord, and the book will be set up, and the prophets and the martyrs will be brought, and the judgment will be made between them with justice, and they will not be wronged. A few things before we get into the tafsir of this ayat. First and foremost, the word that is used is ashraqat. The word ashraqat comes from, the root sharaqa or sharq. Sharq and gharb, east and west. The word mashriq also comes from the same root. In the Arabs, they used to call the place from where the sun would rise to be sharq. So the sun would rise from mashriq, from the east, and it was set in maghrib, in the west. So the place where the sun would rise, where tulu' will happen, is also the place of shuruq. So you might see on the timetables written shuruq or tulu', where the sun first comes up, for example. That's the easterly most place relative to you. So of course it's going to be different too, relative to individuals where they live on this earth. So that's where the root of the word ashraqat is being presented over here. The word shuruq means tulu, to means rise. The word ishraq, though, means to illuminate. So what happens when, from mashriq, when the sun rises, what happens? It illuminates the world. Because of the illumination by the sun, the word shuruq is used instead of tulu aftab. And then shuruq is because of the roshni and the light and the nur of the sun that comes about and illuminates the entire earth or entire universe for that matter. Similarly, when we look at this ayat and the illumination of this word ishraq, in the past there were two groups of mutakallimin or the philosophers. They were divided into two groups. There were those who were called the masha, and there were those who were called the ishraq. Masha comes from the root word mashi, which means to walk. You all go for mashi, arba'in, you do the mashi. And if you've gone for hajj, when you finish the arkan of Muzdalifah on the day of Eid, the morning time, you start walking toward Mina. So over there you'll see the guidance, it says Mashatul Mina masalan, walkway toward Mina. So mashi, we all are aware of the word mashi. We see that the word mashi comes from, or the root of it is used in masha. So there was this hikmat, or the wisdom that was used of dividing one of the concepts and the philosophies of the past as hikmat-e masha. This was the group that belonged to, for example, Ibn Sina, Abu Ali Sina, or all the way up to Aristotle, Arastu. Why? It is known that Arastu or Aristotle was someone who would walk as he would teach his students. So he had a style of teaching, he would be walking around. And students would be sitting out in the nature and he would be walking around. And as he's teaching them, he's running around, he's walking around. So and you see that sometime in the colleges and universities as well, professors who are speaking, they're walking around. So that is something that was associated with Aristotle. So everyone that came under his school of thought was called Masha. And then came another school which was Ishraqi. So Sohrawardi and others were part of this. Why they were different? They said, well, in order for you to understand that wisdom, that hikmat, it's not just going to be dalail aqli, the proofs from the intellect, or 2 times 2 is 4. That is not enough for you to understand 2 times 2 is 4. Rather, what else do you need alongside with it? Alongside with it, you are also in need of an insight, ishraq, illumination. And that illumination is something which is going to go ahead and bring that wisdom to you. Anyways, this was just the division between the two words of ishraq and masha. So hopefully now we understand what the word ishraq is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this word over here, وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا. The earth will be illuminated with the nur of its Rabb. What's the Rabb of Allah? What's the Rabb of the earth? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another question that arises that you should be asking is that if this ayat is talking about Qiyamah, which it is talking about Qiyamah, because you read, what does it say? It says the earth will glow with the light of her Lord, the book will be set up, the prophets and the martyrs will be brought, The judgment will be made between them with justice and no one will be wrong. Where is the scenery? Qiyamah, right? When all this is happening is in Qiyamah. Allah says, when the earth will be illuminated with its nur and the scene of Qiyamah is being presented. What is the most obvious question that should come to your mind? I'll read an ayat. إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا وَالْأَرْضُ دَكًّا دَكًّا. The earth كَالْفَرَاشِ الْمَبْثُوثِ وَتَكُونُ الْجِبَالُ كَالْإِهْنِ الْمَنْفُوشِ. The earth will be, destroyed. كَالْإِهْنِ الْمَنْفُوشِ. Dakkan dakka, it will be in pieces. So when Qiyamah happens, the earth, what we have known from ayat of Quran is, it will be destructed. Nothing will be remaining from it. What is this earth that Allah is saying then? وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا. If the other ayat of Quran are saying the earth will be destroyed when Qiyamah happens. On this occasion, Allah is saying, on the day of judgment, the earth will be illuminated with the nur of its Rabb. Of course, earth, the word ard, which is being used over here, does not refer to this earth that we are living on. In fact, it refers to any earth, any inhabitable place where people are sakin and they live. So on the day of judgment, on Qiyamah, there will be a place where they will be sakin, they will live, there will be paradise, and where they will be living forever, eternal abode. That place is also referred to as ard over here. So there's no contradiction. If someone brought up, say, well, look, Quran has contradiction. It says, Ashraqat al-ard over here on the day of judgment. And then in the other place it says, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. That the earth will be destroyed with this earthquake. So here, this was just some of the meanings of this word. Regarding the meaning of, this first portion of it, the nur, there are different opinions. First opinion says, on that day, God will illuminate the earth with the light that He has created, not with the light of luminous bodies such as the sun and the moon. Sun and the moon will not be illuminating them. Why? Shams and Qamar, all of these will cease to exist. Everything, وَكُلُّ شَيْءٍ حَالِكٍ إِلَّا وَجْهَهُ. Everything will be perished. So this earth will not be illuminated by the sun or the light of the moon. The annexation of light in the word Lord is similar to the idafa that is being there, Noor-e Rabbiha, the Nur of the Rabb. Is similar to when Allah says, Ruhi, my ruh. وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ ruhi. I blew my soul into it. Or Naqatullah, the she-camel that belonged to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That relationship which shows over there is the similar relationship over here when Allah says, the earth of the nur of the Rabb. Sorry about that. Let me go in airplane mode. The second meaning, which is the intended meaning, is the manifestation of the exalted Lord for judgment among His creation. That nur is what? This nur is kinaya, metaphor for the judgment. How so? When the judgment is correct, it's just as equal as nur. When you get the judgment in your favor or against you, as long as it is based on the rules of justice, I was in airplane mode. That judgment itself is considered to be what? Nur. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He passes this judgment, that will be considered nur. That's the second explanation. Third, God has in certain instances metaphorically used light for truth, for Quran, and as far as for hujjat, for proof. In this verse as well, it's metaphorical. It's not in its literal sense. And the intending meaning is the illumination of the earth through the establishment of truth and justice in the process of accounting and weighing individuals' good and bad deeds. Allah Tabatabai, says we don't need to go into these, beat around the bushes, in other words. We don't need to, justify any of these things. He says that the light of the Lord refers to the unveiling secrets and the truths in the hereafter. وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا is that what will happen when the nur is So for example, you walked into this room, it was dark. Someone turned on the light, Noor came, right? What happened after the Noor came? Everything became obvious to you. There was a veil of darkness. The moment you turn on the light, now that veil of darkness was removed. That's what the word Noor over here refers to, according to Allah. He doesn't just say this. He says, well, what's your, you know, Tafsir al-Mizan. Allah uses Tafsir of Quran bil Quran. So when he says, this is the way I look at this ayat, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will unveil everything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reveal everything, everything will become obvious. He uses two ayat. Surah Qaf, ayat number 22, لَقَدْ كُنْتَ فِي غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ هَذَا فَكَشَفْنَا عَنْكَ غِطَاءَكَ. You were certainly oblivious of this. We have removed your veil from you. Similarly, in Surah Tariq, ayat number 9, يَوْمَ تُبْلَ السَّرَائِرِ. On the day when all the secrets will be made public. I think this ayat just enough should be able to shake individuals and to bring them out of the slumber that they're in. Let me read the ayat again for you. On the day when all the secrets will be made public. Imagine today if all the secrets are made public. What happens? When the secrets are published, although Quran tells us, don't go after, don't spy on people, don't do this tajassus, don't reveal their secrets, keep a lid on it. But on that day, all the secrets will be revealed. Imagine if our secrets are revealed today. Someone hacking into the system and revealing our secrets. Everybody keeps some secrets. For us, some of us, the secrets would be that we will probably not be able to go to our jobs next day. We'll probably have to, live in seclusion somewhere with the dark secret that some of us, many of us, are keeping, for example. And that is the lutf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has kept. Sattarul uyub, right? He has kept a lid on it. But on that day, Yawma tubla sarair. On that day, all the secrets will be made public. There's another explanation of it in Tafsir Atyab al-Bayan by Shaykh Muhammad Raza Najafi Isfahani. He said it is mentioned that since the light of the sun and moon will be taken away, it will be gone, they no longer exist. The light of the Lord refers to the light that radiates from the believers. So even the believers will be radiating some light. So the nur of the people. You say, wait a minute, where do you get that from? Again, he refers to an ayat of Quran. To support this interpretation, he cites the ayat number 13 from Surah Al-Hadid, where it says, يَوْمَ تَرَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يَسْعَى نُورُهُمْ بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ. It's on that day, day of judgment, you will see the believers with their light shining in front of them. And the very next ayat of Surah Hadith says, the munafiqeen will tell these mu'mineen, the kuffar will ask these mu'mineen, naqtabis min nurikum. Can we borrow some of your nur? Can we take some of your nur? Can you please share it with us? I said, no. Even if we wanted to, we are not allowed to share this nur on that day of judgment. It's too late now. Yeah, here you can share it. But over there, it's just too late. The ayat continues by saying, tell them to go back. Tell them to go back. You're not making through here. You're not getting any of this nur. None of this is for you. You go back. So here, he uses it. This is, and again, a very good explanation that on that day, it will be the nur of mu'mineen and mu'minat. All right. These were all the different aspects of the nur that were mentioned. The word that is used, Rabb, Lord, instead of Allah. The ayat of Quran did not say, Yawma Ashraqat al-ardu bi-nuri rabbiha. It did not say Ashraqat al-ardu bi-nurillah. You could have said that, right? It said that Nuri rabbiha is meant as an implicit reproach to the polytheist. Why? The polytheists did not have difficulty in believing Allah. They knew He was the Khaliq. But they always denied His rububiyyat. They did not believe in the Rabb aspect of Allah. So when He mentions, Allah mentions over here, He does not say, Binurillah. He said, no, Ashraqat al-ardu binuri rabbiha, who deny the lordship of the exalted God over the earth and its creatures. And number two, the intended meaning of earth includes the earth itself that I mentioned, but it will be destroyed. Within everything within it and its attachment, just as the phrase, and the whole earth will be in his grip. There are some meanings and the messages that we can derive from it. I'll skip through the messages. There's a good discussion towards the end about the narrations that have appeared under this particular ayat. Many of the scholars have given, looking at some of the riwayat that we find, that this nur is nur of Masjid-e-Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli. It says the illumination of the earth by the light of the infallible imams. And in particular, the imam of our time, the Qaim of Ali Muhammad. His light is the one which is being mentioned because he is associated with towards the end of life and the day of judgment. And day of judgment will happen after imam has appeared. So there's a riwayat, the person said, I heard, sixth imam said, Inna qa'imana idha qama ashraqatil ardu bi nuri rabbiha wastaghna al-ibad an dawi shams wa dhahabat al-zulama. He said, when our Qaim, the Mahdi, rises, the earth will shine with the light of its Lord, and the people will no longer need the light of the sun and the moon. Imam's light would be enough, and the darkness will disappear. Now, of course, you don't take it in a sense that Imam will come with a glowing face, which now you no longer need the bulbs and all that stuff. The street lights no longer needed at nighttime. That's not what it literally means. It means that the light of Imam will drive away all the darkness, and there will be light of ilm, knowledge and justice. From another riwayat from sixth Imam regarding the verse, and the earth will shine with the light of its Lord, Rabbil Ard, yani Rabbi Imam al-Ard. Rabb of the Imam of the earth. فَقُلْتُ فَإِذَا خَرَجَ يَكُونُ مَاذَا قَالَ إِذَا يَسْتَغْنَى النَّاسِ عَنْ ضَوْءِ الشَّمْسِ وَنُورِ الْقَمَرِ وَيَجْتَزَوْنَ بِنُورِ الْإِمَامِ. He said, well, people will no longer need the light of the sun and the moon. They will suffice with the light of the Imam. Also, there's another riwayat which is mentioned also in the books of Ahl Sunnah. Tafsir Baylawi talks about it as well, that not under this ayat, but the ayat of Surah Dahr, chapter 76, where it also talks about, when there's no shams, there's no sun in Jannat, how is the Jannat so illuminated? The riwayat he mentions is that whenever Fatimatu Zahra, salamullahi alayha, and Amirul Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, whenever they smile, and their faces and their mouths open, the light from their teeth, shines the entire Jannat, for example. That is the riwayat. Now, how do you make sense of these narrations? Inshallah, in the last half a minute. A, the emergence of the seal of Imam, the Imam Mahdi, the awaited Imam, is the sole cause of the illumination of the atmosphere of the society in many other aspects, right? Zulm, injustice, wa muliatil ardo, بالعدل عدلا وقسطا كما ملئت. He will fill the world with adl and with justice the way it was filled with injustice. The content of such narrations may serve as guidance regarding the knowledge and the characteristics of the era of Imam's presence and its effects, rather than being the conceptual interpretation of the discussed verse, and that literally this is the nur that is shining and coming in a physical manner or in its literal sense. So we got to be mindful when these riwayat that are talking about the fadail of Ahlul Bayt, no doubt. It shows the fadilat, but when you take it in the literal sense, this is the ta'wil of the ayat. The tafsir of the ayat is the day of judgment, the qayamat, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His nur, nur rabbiha, His nur will illuminate the entire inhabitants of that place, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq and ability to understand the ayat of Quran and to implement them into our daily lives. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us rise on the day of judgment with this Quran, with the Imam of our time, or may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our Aimmayatar whom we did Tawassul tonight to be our Shafi on the day of judgment. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the reappearance of awaited Imam and make us amongst the helpers and the soldiers of Imam. Wa akhu da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah, assalamu alaikum Nabi Allah, assalamu alaikum ya Habib Allah, assalamu alaikum ya Khiyarat Allah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, assalamu alaikum ya Abdullah, assalamu alaikum ibn Rasulullah, assalamu alaikum wa ala jaddika wa abika wa ala ummika wa akhika wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, assalamu alaikum ya Gharib al-Ghuraba, assalamu alaikum ya Mu'in al-Du'afa wal-Fuqara, assalamu alaikum ya Shams al-Shumus wa Anis al-Nufus, ayyul matfun bi'arad al-Tus, Ali ibn Musa rada wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, assalamu alaikum Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman, assalamu alaikum Imam al-Nisa wal-Jan, assalamu alaikum Sharik al-Quran, عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته. Takbir. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahumma salli.